It's easy to develop a fascination with reptiles when you begin to understand how unique they are. There are many misconceptions about this type of animal, and keeping one of these strange reptiles as a pet might be close to impossible. There's no such thing as a domesticated reptile, and Komodo dragons don't like to cuddle. From some of the most colorful reptiles out there to some with amazing defensive strategies, here are strangest species of reptiles. Hey guys, this is your host, American Eye. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy that video. Number 15. The Rock Agama. This lizard is well known for sporting similar colors to Spider-Man and has even gotten the nickname of the Spider-Man Lizard. Native to Africa, the ground Agama can make quite the transformation, kind of like most superheroes out there. During mating season, the colors will change in order to entice a female lizard. Other scenarios, such as feeling threatened, might result in the blush of red, which is how you know his spidey senses are tingling. The Agama's main villain are insects, which it primarily eats, but also it will feast on grass, berries, seeds, and sometimes eggs of other lizards. The word Agama means unmarried or bachelor in Latin, and with their unique colors, they're known to attract several mates at a time. When he makes contact with a particular woman lizard he likes, which are a lot less colorful, he will bob his head and then chase after her. Number 14. Legless lizards. You don't have to have legs in order to be a lizard. There are quite a few species of lizards who don't, such as the European legless lizards. There's also the California legless lizard and the eastern glass snake. So if it doesn't have legs, why isn't it a snake? The main difference is because legless lizards have eyelids. Snakes, on the other hand, do not. Here in these photos, you can tell the slight difference between a snake and a legless lizard. Legless lizards also have ear holes, prefer much smaller prey, and eat things like beetles, grasshoppers, snails, and spiders. They definitely don't have any similarities in their jaw structure and can't unlock their jaws like snakes. Number 13. Shellless turtle. We always imagine turtles being covered inside a sturdy protective shell, but what do you think it might look like without one? This weird frog-looking thing turns out not to be an amphibian, but it's actually a reptile. This turtle, who shares a similar resemblance to a mutated pizza, is actually what's known as a hideous soft-shelled turtle, which lives in Indonesia. This strange creature only has to breathe every 12 hours. They also get the nickname of pancake turtles, and it's considered a delicacy in places such as China and Japan. Fossils of the creature can be found in the Chicago Museum of History, meaning that it's possible that these are what turtles looked like before they evolved. In America, it's a dangerous species, and you better not touch one. Number 12. Gargoyle. This rare fish-eating crocodile with an extremely skinny jaw is considered to be a critically endangered species. There could only be about 235 of them left in the wild. These naturally inhabit northern parts of India as well as parts of southern Nepal. They also prefer more marshy areas, but unfortunately, many have tried to keep these in captivity as pets. Their thin jaws are basically a prehistoric evolutionary adaptation for them to be able to be more efficient in hunting fish. Male gargoyles can reach a size of up to 20 feet long. Gargoyles tend to have similar DNA to many dinosaurs from the Cretaceous period, and it's still kind of a miracle these aren't completely extinct. Number 11. The Mexican mole lizard. Also known as the five-toed worm lizard, these are typically found in Baja California, south of the border, and it's not what you'd expect a reptile to look like. They are pink and resemble a worm, and they might look similar to the depictions of the Mongolian death worm, but a lot smaller. Their small heads can bury through the sand quite efficiently despite the heat of the Mexican desert. If you're not paying too much attention, the mole lizard might end up in your tequila bottle, but it's probably not a great idea to eat it. Being a carnivore, they feast upon ants and termites and will drag down their prey underground as well. It relies mainly on its two little forelimbs to get around and its snake-like body. It's fairly common for them to get eaten by birds or bigger lizards. Number 10. The Frilled Lizard. This strange reptile looks like a modern-day dinosaur, and he's got the frills to prove it. Found in northern Australia and in New Guinea, it has excess skin that it uses to flare up when it feels threatened in order to make its predators back away. They might not always be easy to spot due to their excellent camouflage that blends in well with tree bark. It typically stays in the trees unless it needs to find food or to fight off other lizards who are in their territory. Feasting on a diet of beetles, mice, termites, and butterflies, these lizards are known to grow rapidly with a good food source. When the cane toad was introduced as an invasive species, the frilled lizard population skyrocketed in Australia. Number 9. King Cobra. This guy isn't called the king for nothing, folks. The carnivore we see here is the longest venomous snake, and a full-grown king cobra can stand and look a 6-foot human in the eye. They've been known to reach a total length of 18 feet or about 5.5 meters. When they feel a threat is close by, they flare up their hood and give off a gut-wrenching hiss. Although their venom is not extremely powerful, they are able to administer a neurotoxic poison and a large amount of it, which is enough to be lethal to 20 adults. Thankfully for us, king cobras usually tend to avoid conflict with humans as much as possible. But you better watch out, because when they're cornered, they become extremely agitated and strike almost immediately. Number 8. The Black Mamba. The Black Mamba is known for its ferocity and highly aggressive nature when they make contact with an enemy. They're also Africa's longest venomous snake and can reach up to 14 feet in length while weighing only 3.5 pounds. They have been blamed for killing many people in Africa, and this guy is considered by many to be the most feared and deadly snake in all the world. They get their name not from the color of the scales, but from the color of the inside of their mouth. Black mambas will strike repeatedly with multiple bites, administering a large amount of venom in the process. Before any venom was created for these beasts, a bite would be 100% fatal with only 20 minutes left to live. Number 7. Albino Alligators. White alligators are also known as leucistic and are extremely rare, and their skins are unfortunately the key in some expensive handbags. The Hermes Birkin handbag is valued at $185,950 and is made from the authentic Himalayan crocodile. It's also very expensive because this brand no longer makes them. It's crazy to think that not only someone would spend that much money on a handbag, but they would also use skin from a nearly extinct animal. These animals are born with a genetic default which makes them lack pigmentation. You'd be extremely unlikely to spot any of these in the wild, so you probably have to go to a zoo called Gatorland in Florida. Number 6. The Blue-tongued Skink. Found in the country of Australia, the blue-tongued skink also goes by the name of the double-headed bobtail lizard due to its shape. It has fat reserves in its tail, unlike most lizards, which will be burnt during winter time when it hibernates. So not only does it have a blue tongue, but it also has a thick tail which predators might believe is a head. Confusion is a part of its defense mechanism, especially with its rear legs closer to the tail. You might think this thing can run pretty fast backwards if you're not looking at it closely enough. Since they're fairly common in the land down under, they might be kept as pets. Number 5. Satanic Leaftailed Gecko. Do you get the vibe that this creature was created by Lucifer himself? Indigenous only to the island of Madagascar, their tails exhibit a high degree of similarity to a leaf. This makes them pretty difficult to find, and they're also pretty small too. Illegal harvesting of the gecko has made their numbers decrease in recent years, but they still live in protected areas. There are several zoos across the US that house the satanic leaf-tailed gecko for protection. Another notable feature are the red satanic eyes. They were considered to be a mythical creature up until 1888 when a European explorer finally found them. Number 4. Matamata Turtle. Also known as the strangest turtle in the world, the Matamata Turtle doesn't actually come from Matamata, New Zealand. It's actually on the entirely opposite side of the world in the Amazon rainforest of South America. It gets quite a few nicknames though, including Needle Nose and Leafhead, and other mean names that sound like a kindergartner came up with it. They also have an elongated tubular nose, some horns, and a strong neck, which helps them catch fish. So no one really knows for sure why it looks like this, but most believe it's for camouflage. Don't you think it kind of resembles a piece of bark or something? It doesn't appear as though this turtle is becoming endangered by any means, but there is an extremely large demand to keep them as a pet, so you know what that means. Also, if you're a woman and get called a Matamata in South America, that typically isn't a compliment. Don't judge a turtle or a woman by their appearance. That's just not nice. Number 3. Komodo Dragon. Typically found in the Southeast Pacific in countries such as Borneo and Komodo and other islands in the area, the Komodo dragon is the largest living land lizard species. They're also 100% carnivorous, have 60 teeth, along with venomous saliva. It's known that they will lose a fight to a honey badger in most cases, but who wouldn't? Weighing over 140 pounds at full growth, their claws can easily get you as well. It gets worse though. Adult Komodos are also cannibals who will eat their own species, which is just awful. 10% of their diet consists of baby Komodo dragons, but they also eat pigs, deers, snakes, and water buffalo. Number 2. The Blind Snake, Brazil. Not all reptiles are pretty to look at, and not all are the way you would expect them to look. This is known as the blind snake, and it's a rare discovery. This species was unheard of and proves the Amazon has many creatures that haven't been discovered yet. Scientists believe that this creature breathes through its skin and is almost completely lacking any sign of lungs. It lives at the bottom of a river and eats small fish and worms. You better watch out though, this thing grew up to be a full meter at length. More research is needed, but it's possible that this is actually a salamander and not a reptile, but strange nonetheless. Number 1. The horned lizard. So what could possibly be stranger than the last one? It doesn't really look all that scary, but just wait. Its protective scales guard it from most harmful things such as bug bites. However, the most harmful predator though would of course be a hungry coyote. It has one of the most bizarre known stealth mechanisms out there. When it begins to feel threatened by a predator, it can actually shoot blood out from its eye socket and onto a coyote. It's hard to say exactly why this thing works so well against coyotes, especially since you think they would enjoy the sight of blood. But we're sure if you saw a vicious creature shoot blood out of its eyes, you'd probably leave it alone, right?